One time we stopped at a gas station and he went inside the gas station and his phone was still connected to the car.
Uh-oh.
And this name kept calling and calling and calling.
Yes, welcome back to the Crucial Combo Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Happy Friday.
All right.
Friday.
Welcome back. Welcome back. So we had Valentine's Day last week. So we had two of the people who are normally here were absent. So I hope y'all had a good Valentine's Day, of course.
I'm here. So, I did something right.
You did something. Now you said you spent an exorbitant amount of money on movie tickets.
So I decided, I was like, let's just take the whole family, just go out. So we they wanted to see the new Captain America movie. I was like, all right, so let's make it a thing. But I'm like, oh, these tickets is $85. Okay. Well, it's for the family. And then I'm like I'm already going. I was like, I already know this food's about to be a travesty. Son orders a pizza. I'm thinking, okay. And then they get like some pretzels and some cheese and some drinks. And $80 later.
Yeah.
That's
I was like, this is it. Y'all not getting nothing else. It's like the love stopped here.
You know what?
Well, I forgot. I did buy I got a mommy orchard, a daughter orchard, and I didn't think my son liked flowers, so I got him a gift card for his Xbox.
Oh, that's what's up.
That
That
was
was
really
nice.
nice.
That's what's up.
So I was like,
Okay, so you did your thing.
that's the new tradition.
Listen, ain't nothing cheap these days. I would tell you right now, ain't
No.
nothing cheap. So, I think
Pardon,
Twin, you
$8. My
oh,
favorite.
eggs. Don't even talk about eggs,
Mhm.
man.
Cheaper than fried
Listen,
chicken.
listen. At this
You're right.
point, steak is cheaper than eggs now.
true.
Mhm.
That's true.
You can damn near get
It
a
doesn't make sense.
It
damn near
does.
get a porterhouse steak.
Chickens lay eggs left and right. So
Mhm.
I
I
don't
don't know.
understand why it costs so much. You know?
I might have to start selling eggs. I'll tell you right now. That might be
Yeah.
I'm
too much
saying though.
There's a market for it.
for real.
Over here in the South, you better guard your roosters and your chickens around here.
I'm at a point right now. I probably would steal a rooster. I probably would.
Oh my God.
It's getting that real. I went to the grocery store a couple days ago, and luckily they have one brand that for 12 eggs it's like $5, almost $6. And then I bought the last 3. All the other brands were $12
Oh my
for
gosh.
12 eggs.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
That
Yeah.
don't even make
So
sense.
I'm like, but
They just ain't getting no eggs over here.
yeah.
Y'all just ain't gonna eat no eggs. Yeah, you better get a bowl of cereal.
I'm
Don't
not
be bold.
fascinating me.
You better get you a bowl of cereal and some pancakes up in this mug.
Listen.
Frozen pancakes. Frozen pancakes can only cost $4. Y'all better get some
Yeah.
frozen pancakes, a bowl of cereal, get you some bacon, and call it a day. You know,
Call
Yeah.
it a day.
No.
we ain't,
Biscuits.
nah, we ain't making no eggs up in here.
No, listen, it's getting real.
Not when they
It's
cost
getting
that
real.
much.
I was actually it's funny. I dodged a bullet last week because my wife was out of town. She was visiting family, so I didn't have to spend nothing too crazy, so I lucked out. But nah, DJ, I feel you because you know what? When you describe the whole going to the movies, you know what it remind me of? Every time I see the father on Everybody Hates Chris, I don't know if you ever watched it.
Yes.
I'm like him. I be counting it. He be counting everything.
everything.
Like before you even know how much everything's gonna cost, you already counting it in your head. Like, man, we need to bring some hot dogs from home. Put some,
Yep.
put some,
Bring the big purse. Bring the big purse.
bring the big.
Yes.
Put everything in it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep. I thought about it, but I was trying. I was like, this is for the love. I love you all this much.
No, listen,
Mhm.
the movie theater kill you.
Oh my
Man,
God.
I'm not even gonna lie. The
well, you
movie theater will kill your
better.
pocket.
That's why you better make use of the dollar store. I'm sorry,
Uh,
the $1.25
Oh, I love the
store.
dollar.
I
Well,
get it. I get it.
dollar and a little more store.
Yeah,
The $1.25 store.
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
Nah,
Man,
it's no joke.
you
It's
get
no
you a
joke.
box of chocolates. It's only 3 chocolates in there, but that's all you need.
Hey,
There's only 3 chocolates in the box, but I mean, how many chocolates do you need to eat, really?
that's fair.
Or you can go
Or
old school, get you
you can spend
make a homemade card.
$2.50 and you got 6 chocolates. There you go. Bing bang boom.
Yeah.
Now, as women, will y'all accept a homemade card?
Ooh, for my children, sure.
No, for your man.
No. What you gonna do it in
All
clothes?
right. See, and this is where I have a problem with that because all right, if homemade versus store, paper versus paper, original thought versus somebody I didn't pay $5 for. Now they are a millionaire, and you are going to throw this thing away when
No.
it suits you.
It's sweet.
How now,
I
realistically,
like
how
that.
long? How because I this is a debate. How long are you supposed to keep cards?
Forever. You
Hmm.
you could decide what to do with them after I'm dead. That's my feeling about it.
Wow, that's a lot.
Really?
People like have dedicated like little boxes. Like I used to have one for a long time.
I get it, but at what point is it too much?
Things like that.
Sure. When the
Do y'all really keep those cards though? Y'all really keep the cards?
No.
card from one of my best friends,
Mm-hmm.
from oh my god, it's got to be at least 25 years old. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was very sweet. You know, that was one of my best friends. I mean, God
I
rest her
get
soul.
it. I get it. I'm looking at cards right now, but I keep them out of guilt. I don't want to keep cards out of guilt. I
Oh
want to.
Lord.
It
I mean, I
serves no.
guess it depends on who it's from, and like
It
maybe like
serves no
cards
purpose.
that you're like, I really love this card, and like what it says, like, and you keep it.
It really does depend on who it's from. If
Right,
Yeah,
but
if,
I
if
was a I was
yeah,
a
no more, that thing's going in the
yeah.
garbage.
I'm ripping it up, and it's out of here.
right, and but see, I'm a spoken word artist, so like I would write things, and I'm like I would feel you would want that more than
You
something
can
from
go
the
on
store.
Walgreens.com, upload your own art, your own words, and make a custom card.
See,
I've done that.
it just got to come from a store. That's the
Yeah,
problem with y'all.
this is what I'm
It needs
hearing.
to look professionally made. This is how most women think. I'm gonna say most women. I'm gonna step out on the limb here and say most women. If we see some card where the writing is all, because 9 times out of 10 people don't even write straight on paper no more. The writing and starts off straight, then it starts to get a little bit crooked, and maybe you start in print, and then your hand gets tired, then it goes into cursive, and then you put your own little hearts and XOs on it. If we get some, I did not want to spend any money, so I sat down and got a piece of lined notebook paper, folded in half, and wrote
Nah, it
some
wouldn't be
shit on
notebook
there.
paper. It'd be printer paper. It'd be clear printer
Ooh,
paper.
Hmm.
some plain white paper, and y'all wrote some stuff on there. You better be like a damn good artist or something. It
Okay,
better
I
be
was about to say now, if he's like
saying,
if he's a real artist, like and now that would be special.
You
That
got to
would
know
be
how to like really draw.
right.
yes,
I
You
got you.
better be like a
that
step
would
below
be sweet.
Picasso, because
I
you
see.
can't don't come with no stick figure looking,
Uh
heart look. A lot of men don't write very well. They're sloppy writers, so it's going to end up looking like it was written by a third grader. We gonna be looking like, oh, this
That's
cheap
probably
mother.
me. I ain't gonna lie. I can't draw. I can't draw for nothing.
We gonna be looking like this cheap mother sucker here. He didn't want to buy me a card, so he forgot. That's what the first thing I'm thinking. Oh, he
uh.
forgot. He ran out of time, so he's like, man, I got to come up with something. So he
Yeah,
ran home,
This
got a piece of paper and drew some shit on there real quick. I'm like, oh Lord.
Nah, most of us wouldn't do that because we know y'all ain't gonna accept it, and the guilt alone, you know.
Yep.
Now, do y'all have to have a card? Is a card that important to a woman? Do you really care about a card? I don't care about a card. Like, I appreciate cards, but I don't really need it.
Mm-mm.
No. Yeah. Like DJ said, y'all gonna throw them away anyway. More than likely.
Don't throw cards away. If somebody goes to the it's a nice card and they go through the thing, give me the card, then I'm gonna keep it for probably ever.
Keep it.
You know.
Okay.
But
I respect that.
But if you don't want to get a card, you just get some gifts or something, or just we just go out to dinner and say, "Hey, happy Valentine's Day!" A kiss on the cheek. Let's go eat. Cool.
Right.
Doesn't have to be anything extravagant. Doesn't have to be expensive. You can go to Chili's or something. You know, you say, baby, I ain't got a lot of money, but let's run over here to Chili's and get the 2 for $20.
Yeah,
I hear this.
There are some women that find that offensive.
I hear this.
Some women find that offensive.
I'm down. I'm down too. I think that's very sweet and it's very honest. Mm-hmm. And I'm the type of woman that understands how the economy is right now. It's not always easy, and things are not cheap. And hey, it's hard to make it on a single income, even if you're a single person these days. Yeah. So if he's got a lot of bills, or he just ain't really got it like that, but he's willing to spend, a little bit of what he has, and says, babe, I just can't afford to take you someplace expensive right now. I'd really like to take you here, but you know what? Let's go.
It should be kind of an understanding, though, like kind of when you're in a relationship anyway.
Right.
So,
right. You understand if you have a good, solid relationship, you know what, babe? Right. Man, let's run over here to Red Robin. I don't really feel like waiting 45 minutes for a table at Kobe. Let's go. Right. Let's run on over here to Red Robin and get some good burgers and some fries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because Valentine's Day should be celebrated every day.
Well, that's very interesting. You say that, Gina. So did you have a good Valentine's Day last week? Okay,
now y'all was tearing me up in the group chats with all these jokes. But honestly, I had a show the next day, so I knew I couldn't be on here talking all night. So I was resting my voice.
We ain't trying to get in your business. We ain't trying to.
Yes, we were.
I had it was a Kappa's ball, ball. And it was like a pretty big event, so I had to make sure I was ready for that. So
definitely,
I was ready for the vocals.
I know how you get
Thank you, because I was trying to get in your business.
I know.
Yes, I was.
I was like, look at.
I know.
I was laughing at y'all. I was laughing.
Yeah, I was all up in the business. I'm like, ooh, okay.
Before we get into the business of the relationships, though, we got to give one time R.I.P. to Violetta Wallace. Biggie's mom passed away. Today.
Wow.
At 72. Mm-hmm. So that was really interesting to see. I don't know what her cause of death was, but I know
she might have had some kind of maybe some kind of long illness. First thing that came to my mind was cancer. Now I don't know if that's true, but they said she died in hospice care in her home, surrounded by family. So I'm assuming it was some sort of illness, that was terminal. So
yeah, she had
she was a survivor, I believe, of cancer, but I'm not.
Yeah, she had breast cancer.
She had breast cancer back when Biggie first came out. From what I remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know if it was relation, but yeah, R.I.P. to her, man. She gave birth to one of the best MCs. Arguably one of the best of all time,
Yeah.
Crazy. We're still talking about him. He only made 2 albums.
How about that, right?
I know. Crazy. It is crazy.
So R.I.P. to her.
It's amazing when you think about some of these artists and their very short careers. Mm-hmm. And even Tupac, he really wasn't. I mean, he did a lot of stuff before he really went solo, as far as with Digital Underground and some of those types of things. But at the real height of his fame wasn't really a long stretch of time.
Right.
And it's just so crazy to think about the impact that some people make in a very short period of time, how fast they rise to icon status, and then they just become immortalized, after they pass. It's just, I don't know. It's just.
He was really only famous 5 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
91 to 96, 5 short years. And it's crazy now, right? Because you look back and you're like, he was 25. And I'm like, we're like, imagine
we're almost double
when
that.
You know what I mean?
Right now. Well, I remember when he passed away, I was I had just turned 20. And
it's like that's a baby, man.
I remember like it was yesterday. I mean, well, I remember when Biggie passed away. I remember when Biggie passed away. That was a shock.
Yeah,
that was a shock. I almost didn't believe it was true. I was like, "What? No, he's not."
Right.
But it was just mind blowing. And I was thinking about it earlier. It just doesn't seem like there's as many artists these days that have that level of magnetism.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some great entertainers these days. No doubt. No disrespect to anybody, but there's just a certain level of legendary status, icon nature that's missing. It's just not the same.
I think it's like that anytime you get older, though, too, because you talk to if you talk to people who are in their 20s, I mean, they do immortalize Pac and Big, but it's just not exactly the same for them. You know what I'm saying? It's just not their era. So
right.
True. You're right about that. You're right about that.
Well, let me ask y'all a quick question too. It's off the subject, but on entertainment. Now, I did a reaction video after the Super Bowl. Now, here's the thing. I want to talk about Kendrick and Drake real quick. So I want to get some consensus here. I feel like there's a lot of like fake Kendrick love. I think it's a little manufactured. Now, I think Kendrick is good. Some people ate me up on the comments when I did this reaction video. I basically was saying that, look, y'all wasn't no Kendrick fans before the Super Bowl. Everybody's like a big Kendrick fan. And I'm like, y'all just really like to see, I feel like the whole thing, y'all like to see Drake's downfall because Drake been winning so long. So when I compare their battle, I looked at Drake as like the Jay-Z and Kendrick was like the Nas, if you ask me. And Kendrick is very lyrical. He's more conscious, quote unquote. I respect it. I think Kendrick is dope. But what I will say is I feel like during the Super Bowl, everybody became these Kendrick fans. And I'm like, y'all don't even know half the songs he was performing. Y'all don't even know what's going on. Y'all fronting. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, the Not Like Us, honestly, and I know people gonna kill me. Not Like Us, I never even liked that song that much. You know what I'm saying? I know, look at Gina's face.
Really?
It's cool. It's cool, but I felt like when they had their little battle, I think they both made some good songs, and then Not Like Us came out, and it was like, it kind of caught on, but then I just feel like they promoted it and made it like a real huge anthem, which I ain't mad at, but I'm like, are y'all really Kendrick fans, or is it more manufactured? I mean, am I off here? Because I feel like the whole world was rocking with Drake.
These people really like that song. Like it's catchy. It has this hook, and it sonically it moves people. And then if you are lyrically into hip hop, you understand the ramifications of the lyrics that he's saying. And so, I mean, like, I watched it. I mean, there's so many people who did reviews on it. I looked at it being a lot deeper about. I thought he had a hand to play, and he played it well. Like you don't go on to perform on the Super Bowl to get paid. It's advertisement. He made an astronomical amount of money on streaming sales off a song that's already been out for almost a year that he just won 5 or 6 Grammys for the night before. So I'm like, like he has these fans, and like, and they show the comparisons, because I saw a comparison while he's doing the Super Bowl. Drake's got thousands of people in a concert, like millions, not millions, but it's thousands of people. and they're all cheering, but they tried to show the people who weren't cheering for Kendrick. Do you think Kendrick cares? The amount of money he just made, and he got to prove a point. Because, and I think a lot of people, when they say it's not like us, well, no, that Super Bowl was not like y'all, because y'all didn't get it. Some of y'all might have, but it wasn't for you. It was for the people who got it. And it might have been some black people who didn't get it. It wasn't for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, touche.
Yeah, I thought he did. I thought he did a good. I thought it was a good performance. I mean, I've always liked both of them. I mean, honestly, the whole beef to me kind of, at least for me, I felt like it just came out of the blue and just was just way overblown.
That's what I think it is.
That and for me, I think it's way overblown.
You said the beef was overblown?
Way overblown.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, okay.
I really don't know what the root is of all their issues, but my feeling is this: y'all grown, and I understand the whole want to do diss tracks and this like that, but part of me kind of feels like, are you overdoing it in order to sell records? You know what I mean? Are you overdoing it for publicity? Because even if you hate somebody that much, do you really dedicate that much energy to that person that you dislike so much, to where you're making how many songs and you're doing how much stuff? I just felt it started to become a little bit juvenile.
Well, their battle was interesting though too, because I remember back in the day when rappers used to have a battle, they would do usually one song against each other, and that was
that was it.
And I remember at the time I had one guy was one of my recording clients. He was coming here and he was like, "Yo, did you hear the new Drake's new disc or whatever?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I heard it." And I was like 3 songs back. He's like, "No, that was 3 songs ago." He's like, "No, he did 3 songs." I was like, how many disc songs in total? I think it was like 5 or 6 different disc songs, both of them. So yeah, I mean, it is interesting the way they battle, but I think it's just more ego. You know what I'm saying? Just more ego. Which is fine. That's just rappers.
Yeah. It's just it's a bit much. It's a bit much.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at the battling, but I just thought, I would say this. And DJ, you put me in my place. I appreciate you. No. Now, I'm not going to say it went over my head. I did see everything he was doing, and I appreciate it. The only thing I'm wondering, I guess it was more of an open-ended question for me, whether I know Kendrick has fans, but I'm wondering whether on the broader scale, are people just loving the fact that people are like, get rid of Drake now, get rid of Drake.
No, I honestly don't think it's that. I tried not to play the song at our school. I tried to find the cleanest of the cleanest version, but it really don't matter because these 3-year-olds know these lyrics, and I'm like, and they go apes over this song, and I'm like, and I know the song, but I mean, it's not like I'm still listening to, EPMD, and like that's my generation. I love 90s hip hop.
Right.
I can quote that back and forth. But
right.
But I like the song, but I don't love it like these kids love it. Like this is, and I love Kendrick Lamar. Like for a lyricist, I love him, but it's like I don't know the song like that. I didn't get into this beef. I don't even know what they're fighting for. Like they're 2 different people. Drake is a party guy, and Kendrick can be a party guy, but he's more conscious with his. And he's West Coast, and he loves West Coast. And Drake is this Canadian lover boy. I don't even understand why they're arguing, but I know if we talk about wins and losses, Drake did not win this, and it looks bad because he had flags with little kids on them in the shape of an A, lowercase. Like that's really hurtful, whether it's true or not.
A for Aubrey.
Yeah, it's just really bad.
That A minor, that's the for Aubrey, his first name, right?
No, that's for the young children that he was philandering with.
Like, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
Yes,
about
that's why this is such a big deal.
the allegation.
Right.
The
Got it.
allegation, and then this whole Sony PlayStation thing where Sony owns. So, like, it's a whole big deal. Like, I mean, he put a whole lot of thought into making this man feel real small. Like, that's a lot of energy. Just like Yaya said, it's a lot.
That is a lot of energy.
What happened?
I didn't catch it
Spurred
initially.
on so much disdain for the other person. I don't know.
Thing is, at the root of it all, this is hip hop. And this is what hip hop beefs do.
Yes.
You go for the gut. You know what I mean? Like, you get down and you get dirty. And that's just what it is. Drake, he tried to come back. He tried to be hard, in my opinion. He tried to show the world, hey, I can do this battle thing too. And no, sir. No.
They can't.
And I, same as you, Yaga, I love both of them. I love Drake and I love Kendrick for both different reasons. I'm not the biggest Kendrick fan either. Like, I'm not gonna, let me go put on some Kendrick Lamar. Like I've never been like that. I love his songs? Yes. Is he a lyricist? Yes. But I'm not, I'm not a diehard fan. But in this battle, sorry.
Gina,
Kendrick told him to stop.
I know.
Stop.
I feel you. But I can see. You know what I'm thinking about right now? I'm thinking about all those good Drake songs. And I'm like, I know what the ladies like. They like those Drake songs.
I love Drake songs.
And I feel like, you know what I'm saying, DJ? I feel like a lot of these women, they pretending, and that's why I liken it to Jay-Z and Nas. Like, all of a sudden, Nas had plenty of female fans, but now all of a sudden, because the females love those good club records that make you feel good, you know. And I'm like, nah, y'all actually really like Drake more, but now all of a sudden, I'm a Kendrick fan.
I'm not lying. I love Drake more than Kendrick. I'll be honest. But when it comes to this battle, sorry, Drake, but you lost this one.
But he lost that one.
You lost, son. You lost. I'm sorry. I still love you, but Kendrick just lyrically, he destroyed him. So
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I guess so. I'm just interested to see. I want to see if the love is really real, because I feel like, and you know what? Honestly, I'm not mad at the industry exalting a lyrical artist, because that doesn't usually happen.
Yeah.
So I think Kendrick has got his moment. I'm just curious to see how authentic the fans are going to be. Now, on another side, little petty note, people were roasting him for the bell-bottom pants. So,
I didn't. I was a little like, I don't know how I feel about those, but
they had a reason for that too. It had something to do with bell bottoms in the 60s and 70s and revolution and stuff. It's weird.
Okay. I kind of took it as, I took it back to, like, in the 90s, to be honest, a lot of guys were wearing those kind of jeans, like the grunge, like, kind of like, guys like in school, they would wear those kind of pants with the chain on the side and stuff like that. So I kind of like took it like that. Like, I didn't look at it all crazy, but when I started seeing the comments, I was like, why are y'all tripping this hard about these pants?
Wait a minute.
I don't think it was that serious. I mean, I thought they looked. I mean, they fit well and all that stuff. I thought they looked, decent. I mean, style wise, I was like, that's it. I just was like,
yeah,
I didn't.
Something else. Yeah,
it's just we need something to talk about, and that's the sad part about it. We just have to have something to talk about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. No, that is true. That is true. I mean, first of all, I wasn't studying his pants. You know what I'm saying? I'm a grown man over here, but but it was funny. It was funny to hear people talk about it. But no, DJ, you're right. I did see a lot of the symbolism and things that he was representing. So it is interesting. Typically in the Super Bowl, you don't really see that. So, there are a lot of the messages. I think some people caught it, some people didn't, but it was interesting. So. All right. Well, we agree. Drake lost that battle. Kendrick had his moment. I was just curious. I was just curious to see what y'all thought. But now the other thing before we get into the relationships, what do y'all think about? Are y'all spooked about flying at all? It's been an interesting year as far as
Ooh.
flying in the last 2 months. So
I mean, for me, it's a yes and a no. But it's always been a yes and a no. And it's ironic because I thought my mother was going away yesterday, but she actually left today, and I didn't know. And I bought the ticket for her, but she was just like, I don't know if I want to go, but you know what? If it's my time, it's my time. I hate hearing her say that, but I get it. It's like, I mean, she's 70, she's like 78. I'm like, she's done her time. She's worked, she's retired.
Yeah, but nobody wants to go out like that.
No, but that's the thing. But like, but she wants to live life and do the things that she didn't get to do. So if the plane is what she needs to take to get there, like, I'm gonna just go. I don't want to die, but like, I know that I can't be here forever.
yeah,
And I don't think that's her way that she thinks to go out, but like, she's living her life and not thinking about it. And I try to do that, but it's hard. But I get it. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know. It's close. DC is not far.
yeah,
Philly is not far.
yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
I don't know. It has been a little spooky lately. It just seems like there's been one too many, but I try to keep it in perspective and realize that, I mean, still there's far more auto accidents than there are plane crashes. So
Right.
if you run the numbers, you look at the statistics, it is still safer to fly. However, I've always been a little bit of a nervous flyer anyway. So I think the next time I get on a plane, I'll probably be even more nervous to fly. But like you said, you need to live life. And if, honestly, I feel like whenever your time comes, if that's what's meant to be, it doesn't really matter how. That's just what's meant to be. I'm hopeful that God will allow me to just, go to sleep when I'm like 105, and that'll be all she wrote.
Right.
I'd much rather go out that way than than in a plane, because I don't want to see nothing coming.
Right.
So we'll see.
And then I also try to gauge my life as like, I don't go to California, or, I can drive to DC and New York and all of these other places, so it's like, my brother lives in Ohio. They're not doing anything to Ohio. So I didn't think they'd do anything to Louisiana, but yeah, you got people driving through New Orleans. So I don't know. It's like, I'm trying to think, like, I'm going to places where nothing's going to happen. I should be fine. But that doesn't work.
Anything can happen anywhere, that's for sure.
It is, but I got to find something to get me on that plane.
What about you, G?
I'm in the same boat as Yaya. Like, I've always been afraid to fly. Like, I still get anxiety when I get on. Like, I'm the person who has to have, like, I have to have something. I'm squeezing it while we're taking off. Like, I'm listening to music. Like, I am that person. And I can't, I just hate that, right? But like she said, now my level is going to be all the way up here. Like,
right.
Like, I'm already a nervous wreck getting on any plane. So it's just, but it's true. Like, you still have to live life. You still want to go places, explore places. And a lot of those places overseas, you can't get there by car. So,
unless you want to get on a boat.
That flight. Boat.
Old school
boats.
No,
be on some Titanic type of vibes.
Anybody has that kind of time?
Take about a good month to get to Europe.
That's the whole thing. I get seasick, so I don't know. Even though people say a cruise is different, but I've had bad experiences on boats.
those flights, the thing, and the crazy thing is that I can understand that too. Like, I wouldn't say I'm more of a nervous flyer. I mean, I just flew when we came out there, twin. It was like 2 months ago. So, that was actually before all this stuff happened. But, but I mean, it's crazy how much stuff has happened since the new year. But
Yeah.
But I think the worst one or the most tragic one was obviously the one in DC, because I mean they're like a minute from landing, and that stupid Black Hawk helicopter. I'm like, how are you not seeing? I don't know, that airspace is crowded over there, and they need to not have so much crowded airspace over there. From what I understand, Reagan Airport has the most crowded airspace in the country. Because of all they got going on. So one pilot was saying that they should start having, well, his suggestion was to have all the domestic stuff go to Dulles and then just have Reagan just for military, but I don't know.
Should be the other way around. Dulles too far.
Dulles is far, yeah.
Well, y'all DMV people, y'all tell me.
It is far.
It's too far.
People do not want to go all the way to Dulles to catch a flight. Like,
Got you.
It's either Reagan or BWI. Like,
okay.
Dulles?
Okay.
Someone's like, ugh.
I know y'all shot that down real quick. You like, oh, hell, Dulles. Bugging out.
It's
I
like
don't know. I don't
resort type of thing. Like, is that the only place you can get a flight out of, or it's the cheapest, or something like that? But
so that's like y'all. That's like y'all version of LaGuardia, because that's how I look at LaGuardia.
That's how
Because I never go to LaGuardia.
Yeah,
it's either for me, it's Newark or JFK. I mean, you got to live in Queens. I went to LaGuardia one time. It was far as hell, and I don't know what they did now, but the airport is a dump. So I don't ever want to go back there.
It's always been a dump. The few times that I've been to LaGuardia, I was like, oh,
that place is a
never
dump.
been to LaGuardia. JFK, I've been to Newark.
Maybe they changed something, but I was like, wow, this is an airport. It's like dingy and small. I'm like,
it's never. I don't recall it ever being nice. I mean,
goodness.
I've flown to LaGuardia a couple of times, and I don't recall it ever being like clean.
Yeah, it was not clean. It was definitely on the dusty, dingy
area
side.
around there. Even the area around there, I'm like, me and my friend were like, should we get on the bus around here? I don't know. We go get mugged.
Well, here's the thing, though. The thing that's crazy is that I think all these things were, because then all these little things happened. Then you had the Philly one, but the Philly one was a small plane. That's one thing.
I don't like small.
I don't like small planes. I don't do small planes. I don't even like those small commuter ones, the commercial commuter ones. I don't like those with the two seats, or the two seats on one side and one on. I don't like those. I also, then after that we had after that there was like a small.
There's recently the one the Delta one that just crashed.
Now the Delta one in Toronto, that was the last one. So that one. So here's the thing. So that one, when I watched that, I'm no expert on the matter, but I'm watching this plane. I'm watching the video because I saw it when it first broke, and I'm like, that runway has too much snow. First of all, I'm like, are y'all shoveling or putting ice? I don't know if they put salt down on the runway or whatever, but they need to have people out there shoveling and doing whatever they need to do.
Yes, constant.
On the hour, on the minute, whatever. Because when you land in, because they landed so quickly, and I was watching a pilot talk about it yesterday. So apparently they came down too fast. They were coming down too fast. And I'm like, it was pilot error from what I'm seeing. Like, you can't be coming down that fast on a snow.
Right.
Runway. So they come down, and I guess the part of the landing gear broke, I guess, on the left side, I think, or whatever. And then, so one of the wings broke off, and the other wing was still creating lift. That's how they flipped over. So I was like,
God.
Yeah. So right now,
how many fatalities were in that one?
No fatalities, believe it or not.
They evacuated quickly, but
they evacuated quickly. So, and Delta's given each passenger, from what I hear, and it's no strings attached. They're giving each passenger $30,000.
I'm about to say, I don't want to fly no more.
No.
$30,000.
No.
Now it's no strings attached. So
they need to come with about 100.
Well, no, listen, they're getting 30, They're getting 30, from my understanding, they're getting 30, but there's no strings attached, so people can still sue. So it's not like they're getting 30 and they can't do anything. From what I understand, I could be wrong, but you know.
You know what? You accepted that 30 grand and you're gonna go to court.
You ain't gonna get down. Yeah.
Shut that down.
Yeah.
They will shut that down. They have billions of dollars.
Well, they said no strings attached.
Yeah, they say no strings
They'll
attached.
charge you $30,000 in court fees and then give you another $30,000.
Easily.
True.
And they'll drag that shit out for years.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll run out of money.
Over, you're not taking the 30?
Nope.
I mean, you're not taking the 30. I'm taking the 30.
You're a damn lie. You're taking that 30.
I'm not about to spend the next 5 to 10 years in court because court costs money. You don't spend that 30.
I'll take it.
First year on
you taking it right.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm gonna go back to Southwest.
Listen.
30. I mean, I probably will take it, but I'm also gonna, I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk to some lawyers.
Yeah.
And just see, like, what are my options here?
Right. You let me, before I take the 30, let me just see if I can get, 130. 200.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's lifetime trauma.
It is.
I mean,
it is.
That is. I can't even imagine. I can't.
I know, the plane flipped upside down. I mean, some people did get hurt. I mean, luckily nobody died, but yeah, I mean, I can't imagine too, with the plane flipped over, that had to be crazy. And luckily there was a little fire when they first landed, but luckily, nobody died, but but they were also showing, like, when people were exiting the plane. Now, I was laughing to myself because one of the guys was saying that passengers, they had to keep yelling at certain passengers because people want to get their luggage. So, and I'm laughing because
that would be me. That would be me.
That would be you.
Yeah. Listen, not my luggage, but if it was like my laptop or something,
I
gotta get that.
I like my stuff.
Oh, but
I hate to say it,
the plane could just go up in flames.
I like my stuff.
Y'all worried about your laptops?
I'm that crazy. Stuff. I don't know what it is.
Because I gotta buy all that stuff again.
Get out of my way.
I gotta buy all that stuff again, program all that stuff.
You'll have your 30,000.
I don't want to do all that.
I know, but I want my 30,000 and I need my laptop though.
Oh my God, y'all are crazy.
I'll be the fool dying over his laptop. I'll be like, well, ain't no flame yet, so let me just get it real quick. Now, if it's a fire, I'm not going for my laptop. Honestly.
All right. Okay.
But they did smell jet fuel at the time. Passengers did smell jet fuels.
I'm out of there.
So we know the fire's coming.
And I'm out of there.
You're not grabbing your camera or your laptop?
No. No.
What if it's like right there and you could just grab it real quick? You going for it?
Okay. If you can just grab it and you don't have to go shuffling through stuff, now that's a different story.
Yeah, I'm not saying you gotta go up a couple aisles.
Huh?
No, I'm sorry. I'm not saying you got to go up a couple aisles. I'm saying, like, it's like right above your head type of thing where you could just reach up you upside down, so you're gonna be reaching down basically.
You know what?
Once you hit the ceiling, and because the overhead passengers go down like that, so you upside down, so you're gonna be pulling up like that. Might be easier just to grab it.
You know what, Shy?
No.
You know what?
Am I bugging out?
No, because you're making sense. You're right. It's going to be on the floor. I mean, you can just go and just get it.
Yeah, I'm going for it.
Okay, I'll get it. If it's that. But I'm not rummaging like through crazy, stuff all over the place to look for it.
They're going to be mad at you. They're going to be like, get out of here, dude. Get off the plane. It's about to blow. I'm like, let me just grab Let me get my laptop. I got to get my laptop.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, because you got to get a new computer and reprogram everything. So I'm probably going to go for it. I'll be honest with you.
Y'all wild.
Hey.
So y'all, what's the consensus? Y'all flying?
I mean, I'll fly, but you know, I really do pay attention to flying in optimal weather. I fly I try to find a flight during the day and making sure it's no precipitation whatsoever. Like that's what I do to ensure my safety as much as possible. And that, so I will continue to fly, but those are my conditions.
So you said no rain and no snow.
No rain. No snow. I mean, if I can avoid it, if it's unavoidable, but I'm looking for a bright sunny day.
I feel you because one of my roughest flights I ever flew. I was coming back from Chicago, coming back to JFK, and it was snowing, and it kind of reminded me of that Toronto crash because we came down hard, and it was the last few minutes of the flight was really a lot of turbulence, and it was like January about this time, right around this time of the year. And we hit the ground kind of hard. It was a rough little. So I kind of feel you. I mean, for me, I get less anxiety when it's warmer and it's decent weather. But I'll tell you, this is the thing. I'll just tell you this about flying. I don't recommend you ever do this. So there was a time where I started watching air crash disasters, and it's pretty interesting.
Oh, God.
And it was a time where you know how you have, because I don't fly all the time, so I have times where it'd be like 4 months, 5 months since I flew, right? So watching the airline disasters on YouTube, and I started watching one episode. This was like 10, 15 years ago, and it was really interesting. So I just started binge watching this stuff. So I started learning all about these different crashes, how they happen, and it's very interesting. I didn't realize the effect it had on me because the next time my ass got on the plane,
see,
I had all these things in my head, like,
nope.
Oh man.
Nope.
Well, I'm gonna say,
don't do it.
I've been watching air disasters for at least the last 15 years. So I probably know more about airplanes than I should, only because I'm interested in airplanes. Like,
same.
If I had the aptitude, I would probably be a pilot. But I just don't have the aptitude for it. But when I fly now, it's like when I go towards the plane, I'm doing a visual inspection. I'm like, okay, is this door properly? Did they do this? Did they check that? Did they finish their pre-flight checklist? Did they find?
Lost you.
No.
No, she's right. That's
I do that too.
You know, I'm looking at different things, and you know, then I'm checking out the pilot. You know, I'm like, does he look drunk? You know, I'm looking to see, you know, is he walking straight?
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to see if I can get some eye contact to see, you know, does the eye look red? Do he look sleepy?
Tired.
You know, yeah. And I try to look at, you know, okay, well, the captain, the first officer, and I hate to say this sounds terrible, but when they look a little older, I usually feel a little bit better because they seem like they have a little bit more experience.
Listen, I totally agree.
If you look like you're 12 years old, I'm like, oh Lord, you know, who is this kid?
You be like, is this his first flight or her first flight?
Oh no,
right, his first time out. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I've flown. I've had some bumpy flights, and I've flown again. I usually try to. I just get in my mind and just try to calm myself. This doesn't make sense, but I typically start to feel more at ease when we get closer to the ground. You know, when we're making our approach, and they say that's one of the most dangerous times is when you're taking off and when you're landing.
Take off and landing. Yeah.
When we're making our approach, and I see that we're getting closer to the ground, mentally I'm like, okay, I'm close enough to where if I needed to jump, I might be able to survive.
I'll survive it.
I might survive the jump. You know, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, we're getting closer and closer to the ground.
I know.
Right.
So, you know,
because you definitely calculating that once you get like a few hundred people on the ground, you're like, that runs through people's heads. Because I think the same way. I'm like, okay, right now there's a good chance if we crash, I could survive.
Yeah.
Okay, we get closer. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely one of those things. But when you're watching that air crash thing, you know too much, and you do start to look at stuff like looking at the plane. You looking when we first took, after I watched all those episodes, the first time I got on the plane, when we took off, I was like, man, the plane is pitched up the wrong way. We going the
Oh
the
my
nose is up
gosh.
too high. You just
Oh
thinking
my
about,
gosh.
and I'm like, he need to pull the nose down some. We pitched up too high. We might go into a stall. So don't watch that shit. Don't do it.
I'm not.
Yeah,
Don't do it
yeah,
I
I
am
won't either.
not. I'm not
Mm-mm.
watching.
because
I'm
it's so
too bad.
interesting.
I can't.
But
I
you'll be
can't watch it.
traumatized. Don't do it.
Nope. I'm already traumatized. I swear. Like on one time on a bumpy, like a really, really bumpy ride, I was so scared. Like I grabbed the person next to me and they were like, but they were like, it's okay. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It was just, just my reaction. But oh my God. No, I'm never watching that show
Don't
or
do it.
clips. I'm never, ever, ever.
I'm telling you, it's if you do watch it, you're gonna be like, yo, this is very interesting, and you're gonna watch a bunch of episodes, and yeah, you're gonna be scared out of your mind when it's time to fly again.
No,
I see you all
Yeah,
right
I
now.
believe it.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't. No, no.
Well, it's an interesting time. I don't know if I don't think anybody is really. I don't think it's gonna stop anybody from flying per se, but yeah, it's for the first time in my lifetime. I actually see people who fly normally. They're just actually really nervous, just based on all this stuff happening in such a short
Yes.
amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because they say it's like 1 in 11 American or a person would get caught be in a plane crash. It's like 1 in 11 million chance.
Mm.
Mm.
That's how high the odds are. So
I don't know. Them odds don't really seem all that low when you think about how many people there are in this
Yeah.
world.
Mm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think I think a million. I think that if they change that to a B, I probably would feel a little bit more comfortable.
yeah, yeah.
But
Well, we shall see. We shall see. Well, all right. So the relationship topics. So we don't have many on as far as our relationship topics tonight, but I do want to talk about just a couple of things that we didn't touch on last week. Um, so let's talk about this is interesting. We haven't talked about this yet. What are the boundaries for opposite sex friends when you're in a relationship? Because this is a very interesting place. So I'll let y'all tell me. What do y'all think the boundaries are? This is a very weird gray area. And
I'm stuck in it. I don't think I have.
what do y'all
I
think?
think that okay.
Hmm.
So I was in a situation where this person was a former an ex who is
Hmm.
supposedly now a friend, but who did not know where to draw the line, you know? And I think that when it comes to exes are not, when you're in a current relationship, I think you need to just cut the cord from the ex because it's just going to cause entirely too much conflict. And I know in some situations you can just be friends. I believe that men and women can just be friends. However, if this is somebody that you've been intimate with, I don't know, and just speaking for myself, I don't know that I would feel comfortable with you still continuing a relationship with them because you've already had that sort of bond with that person. You
Well,
continue a friendship, y'all
Quinn, I
get
think
too
you froze
close.
up.
Uh-oh.
I think you froze
Did
up
I?
for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah.
for a
Am
second.
I okay?
Well,
Yeah, you good
I
now.
don't want to cut you off, but let's assume that the person is not your ex. So let's say
Okay.
you're in a relationship, whether it's, whatever, married, not boyfriend, girlfriend, married, whatever the case is. How do you what's the protocol as far as opposite sex friends? Let's just say the friend is not an ex per se. What do you think?
So, okay, here's my perceived protocol. Um, there is an introduction, and you state, "Hey, this is XYZ," and you go from there, and I'm not, so I'm in this situation, and it's like I've known this person longer than I've been married. Like I'm talking 26, 27 years. We used to work together. Now I think there was some interest, but I friend zoned myself, so it was okay, no big deal. And we just remained friends. Went out of touch. She got married twice, had a kid, whatever. But it was one of those things where, when you have those connections with people, when you come back, everything just kind of clicks. But it never transferred to like everyone just kind of being this happy, jovial thing. Her daughter is my goddaughter, so it always feels uncomfortable because I wanted to do these things, but I know you might feel uncomfortable if everybody's together. But if I go off by myself, then I'm sneaky and like I can't win. So this is why men perceive, aka lie, because there's no winning. I can't win.
That
Can't
is
win.
not an excuse at all. That is an excuse or justification for being
May
dishonest.
not be, but
That
I've just
makes
laid
it
this out to you,
He's
and I've showed you
laying out
how
real
I
life.
can't win either way.
So just so we have it clear, DJ. So this is somebody, and this happens a lot. So this is somebody you knew long time before you met your wife. Y'all are still cool. Obviously, your life has evolved, her life has evolved, and then you still try to maintain some level of friendship, but at the same time, you try to make your wife comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And that's an interesting. It's interesting because I mean this happens a lot, and we make friends, throughout our lives that sometimes come before the relationships that we have currently, and that happens a lot. So it's an interesting thing as far as protocol and how to deal with it. So interesting.
Well,
I thought I did the right thing.
Until you found out you didn't, right?
I didn't at all.
well,
Apparently, I should have just dropped
there's two,
everybody.
I think there's a couple of issues here. A, I think you need to always be honest with, at least for speaking for myself, and I would say a good portion of women. When there's honesty about it, and there's no sneaking around, and you're not hiding anything, and you're not acting all nervous about it,
I think you froze up, twin.
Yeah.
You froze up.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's my internet or what.
Internet's on the bootleg vibe tonight.
I don't know. Well, it's been a little funny acting today, honestly. Times am I not frozen? Because
You're good now.
It doesn't freeze on my side.
Oh, okay. Now you
So
good
it's
now.
like I don't even know that I'm frozen.
Yeah.
But so when men are just honest about it, and they don't lie, and they don't start acting all nervous, and they start acting all weird, then that's not going to set the stage. Like if he's not acting weird and he's not acting all suspect about it, then that's number one. That's going to keep us comfortable. Number two, open communication about it. You know what I mean? Don't start acting comfortable when you start, we start asking questions like, okay, well, how do you know her? Have you guys ever had any sort of anything? Is there any attraction there on your part or her part? Anything of that nature. And then as women, and I will say this, as women though too, then we need to examine our own insecurities about that, because that's not something that you guys are going to be able to control, and that runs both ways. You need to examine your own insecurities.
Well, twin, on that point, not to cut you, but right there, okay. So, what would you say? Because I agree with you. Obviously, you shouldn't lie. So, what is the protocol? What do you think the protocol is if you have a male friend and you're in a relationship? What is the protocol from the female perspective? Like, how do you deal with it? How would you deal with it?
I would tell, hey, you know what? I do have male friends. And I would be open about that from the very beginning. I have male friends that are completely platonic. I would tell them who they were, how I know them, and I'd want to find out from the very beginning, well, are you uncomfortable with this? Because if you have
hell yeah, I'm uncomfortable.
If you have good, if you have good solid friendships, do you really want to cut all those people off? You know.
Well, you know what? Then it comes down. Well, before I say what I say, go ahead, G. What's your protocol? I got something to say about it, but go ahead, G.
Yes, I like the honesty, but I think it's just like common courtesy. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give an example. Like one time, when I was in this long-term relationship, we were just chilling and someone called me on the phone. I have a lot of male friends, right? He called me on the phone. We were chopping it up, and he was just looking like, who are you talking to? All this got you all smiling like this. I'm thinking that's probably what he's thinking. But when I got off the phone, I said, "Oh, that was such and such. We go way back. Da 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 da. We do music. Whatever. Just common courtesy."
Yeah.
And then that was it. You know what I mean? So I just think the honesty is a big thing. The same on his side too. Like, I don't want to be looking like, well, who is this? You know what I mean? Like, common courtesy.
Oh, take that call in the other room either.
That's true.
No,
that call was right in front of him. So
now that's never a good. That's never a good sign.
That's no.
Getting up and walking away.
Right. I agree. I agree.
And you might get up to walk away because y'all was watching TV or something, but a lot of times, like you think you might be trying to be courteous, but it don't look good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and G, I think it's so interesting because we all of us who do, well, not just people who do music, but we all understand that you have a lot of friends. You have a lot of friends. You know what I'm saying? And it just happens to be where you have female friends. If you're a man, I have female friends too, plenty of female friends. But I do agree, you do want to make sure that your significant other is aware. I think where it gets weird, this is where it gets weird to me. Where it gets weird, you got to figure out, like, if you're going to do like lunch or go hang out with somebody, quote unquote, this is where it gets very weird, right? That's, what I'm saying? It just depends. Like, there's no hard, fast rule, but this is where it gets weird because, like, if you have friends you've known for a long time, like, for instance, me and you, G, we've known each other, what, 20 years, almost 20 years now.
God, yeah.
So it's important, like, my wife has to be aware of who you are. And, like, for instance, what I would probably do, I would probably say, you know what, you probably better off, this is my opinion, if you're going to hang out with an opposite sex friend, you probably better off inviting another person. So you have 3 people, you know what I'm saying? So if I'm like, yo, G, let's go eat lunch or whatever.
Let's call
while you in town. Yeah, I'm like, yo, Fonda, me and G, you know what I'm saying? Or, I might invite Sonny or somebody. That way it's like a group thing, we hanging out. But if I'm like, yo, me and G about to go have lunch, she might know of you and heard of you, then my wife might not have a problem, but at the same time, you never know. And DJ, you can account to this. You never know when women have a problem too, because women don't always say nothing.
That's true.
Women be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." They be smiling, and
see that's my thing, because like the kickback it's a whole vibe to me. Like, the vibes are different. Like, I look at those like I go out with my male friends. Like, we've got 20 years of stories. Like, those are different. And that's nobody really like compartmentalizes their lives. Well, what we do, but that's just an aspect of my life, and I think that needs to be separate. Like, you have to have a separate life outside of that. I feel like I'll go crazy. I can't speak for everyone else. I'll go crazy. Like, everyone needs their independence in this togetherness, and that part of me is that independence. And I'm like, and I feel like you should have that buffer, but I'm like, what if that buffer can't get in with our stories? Then you're just like a wasted person. And I'm like, why are you even here?
Oh my gosh.
And then you feel left out because we talking about stuff you have no clue of what we're talking about.
That's so funny because it's so real.
So, but
the buffer will help you, DJ.
It will, but it's just like I just
keep you off the couch.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah, that's where I am.
You know what?
No, I mean, well, you know,
Wait,
Well,
so
the buffalo
so
keep you out the doghouse.
let me ask you. So DJ,
gotcha.
so you're saying that you should be able to have the freedom to at least go have lunch with with a female friend if y'all have that history without having any problems.
I mean, you should. I have the wherewithal to know that this is just pure conjecture. I am just saying this. I feel like you should. I understand there are a lot of complexities in it, and you can cross all your T's and dot all the I's, and it still be a problem. It just is because there's nowhere where people make it okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because for men, it's perceived we're always going to sexualize it,
Right.
and for other women on the outside, they might be in disbelief that that's all this really is.
Right.
And it's kind of and the thing about it is you may believe it, like you may really want to believe it, but you just can't, and it's hard, and it's just because of how we've all been raised. You know, this is just generational things that we've just come to accept.
Have you really sat down with your wife and talked about it?
At this point, no, not anymore.
Well,
Not anymore. I've hung it up in the closet, and I've just learned how to exist. I mean, I already work in a field that is predominantly women. Like I can't escape this. Like it's just, you know, I feel bad because my phone is. I work in a school, so there's no men.
Yeah, it's mostly women. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just a terrible setup from the get go.
It's a
wow.
setup. They trying to set you up, DJ.
We bitter much?
No, I'm just like it's just difficult. You know, I was like, this is just it's what I'm around. This is just it has become my huh.
You sound like someone who feels trapped.
Eh, trapped where? Like in work?
Trapped in some sort of alternate universe where everybody's women except you.
I feel like that sometimes because they'll be talking to me and they'll say, "Girl,
Oh,
talking to me."
I never
I'm-
do that.
that's
I do that.
I mean, I don't know if it's a badge of honor because they're comfortable, or should I really be offended?
I think women get comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Women get
It just
comfortable.
comes out.
I think we get
think it's
comfortable.
on purpose.
Yeah.
I don't think it is either. It's just, you know, but that's just I'm just used to that
Yeah.
environment, and like I've just always been used to it. So it's just like I've known when it is okay, when it's not. I know the faces, I know the tone. So I'm just like, oh, this is not a good idea. Let me go do something else. I go
Okay,
do
so let's
something else.
flip it around. What about your woman?
I don't have
Going-
an issue. Don't have an issue because she's like Gina. She sang with Jonathan Nelson. Like she's in that world. So they're there. You know, I'm I don't know. I'm not or anything, but I didn't have an issue. Well, here's the thing. I don't know what I don't know because I don't know it. I'm telling you now, I wouldn't have an issue. I don't know, you know, but you know, I will definitely cross that bridge when it's there. But no, I don't actually have an issue.
Well, DJ, I'm gonna speak for us now.
Okay,
I'm
go for
going
it.
along with you. Now, here's
Okay,
the thing. No, would I have a problem with it? That's a good question. Now, it depends on. Now, for me, I have very good senses, and it's about context, right? So, you know, I would say like my wife, she does have. Well, she has one male friend that she's really good friends with for years. It's like her and this other female friend, like the three of them. But I will say he's not straight, so it's not really an it's not really an issue
Let's talk about something relevant.
Well, exactly. So,
You know what I mean?
but
Talk
that's
about somebody that you would actually have a problem with.
well, you know what? Here's the thing. I actually haven't ran into that situation. I think that women are very, in my experience. I haven't had a lot of relationships where I had a woman or girlfriend that had a lot of male friends, but for whatever reason, I mean, they typically, in my experience, they typically either I am aware of them, but I haven't had a situation where it's like, yo, I'm gonna go have lunch with Leroy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just hasn't happened with Leroy.
Well, okay,
You know
then
what I mean?
would you have a problem with it theoretically?
Huh?
Would you have a problem with it theoretically if he was like a longtime friend since childhood, just buddies? You know, nothing's ever been
No.
anything.
I probably wouldn't have a problem. You know, at this point in maybe when I was younger, I probably would have had a problem with it. But at this point in my life, I'm like, I have enough like judgment to understand, like, okay, if I met him, you know what I'm saying? Because I think the other thing, and everybody said it, like, I think if you have an opposite sex friend, it's either one, to me, this is the protocol. So sometimes you have friends where you may not invite them over all the time like that. Like, so I think either you do one or two things. You either invite your friends to your home so your significant other can kind of know them too. And then maybe they're not going to be equally both of your friends, but you're bringing that significant other into the situation so they understand it more. I think that, or if it's not a situation where you invite them over to your house all the time or something like that, then I suggest maybe you either invite your partner with you or you add a buffer. Adding a buffer, I think, is a very good strategy because again, it's not so much that you're doing something.
Chaperone.
Well, it's not so much that you're doing something wrong, but I think also too, one of the things about relationships too is about making people feel comfortable. So I could say, okay, you know what, I'm going out with Gina, or I'm going out with LaFonda or other female friends I have, and I'm doing nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm legitimately doing nothing wrong. But at the end of the day, like I'm the kind of person where I'm like, I don't want to feel uncomfortable either. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's on the flip side. I kind of think about it like, okay, hmm, one of these days maybe it's gonna come around where, and I can't complain if I do it like that, because then if she do it like that, I can't really complain because she could say, well, you have female friends you go out with solo too. So I'm like, you know what, we got to implement the buffer plan, or you know, and it and again, it's just about making sure your partner feel comfortable, because some people will ride they'll ride their whole merit or their whole objective of truth. They'll ride that to the end of the cliff and say, you know what? I ain't doing nothing wrong. That person is my friend and you should just trust me. And I get that too, because you can legitimately be telling the truth and not doing nothing wrong. But at the same time, you still put your partner in a situation where it still make them feel a little uncomfortable. It's a little weird. So you like, yo, I'm going to go hang out with this, or we're going to the movies, or you just can't do it. It just, for me, it's just
Right.
less drama. You know what I'm saying? When you do it like that. So sometimes you could be right and be wrong at the same time. Is my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, you know.
Yeah.
So it's one of those situations. So I don't know. With opposite sex friends, it's a very weird area where I think you got to tread lightly. You know.
Good night.
And I'm not crazy about women with a lot of male friends per se, but it depends on what you do. Like, gee, with doing music, when you in music, because you're gonna have all types of people that you know from a male perspective, but not everybody's hitting your lineup either.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it just depends on what the person does. But
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know.
And I think that as you get older and you're more settled into your relationship too, you're not really going to have as much time to devote to friends in general, especially non I'll just call them non-essential friends. I mean, you might have your close girlfriends that because relationships like that are more like family. And so they don't typically make the other person uncomfortable unless, your partner just can't stand this woman and that's a whole separate thing. But
right.
Typically you don't have as much time for non-essential friends. And so you don't really, it's not really that much of an issue because it's like, well, I have kids or, we have a whole family thing going on. Like it would look kind of weird, if I was going out with Leroy every weekend or every 2 weeks or we every, we like you have to go and kick it with this person all the time. That would be a little suspect. So I don't know. I think if you look at it from an occasional basis or every blue moon, like, oh, Leroy's back in town. Oh, I haven't seen him in 20 years. You would just need to really talk about it and really communicate with that. But I think that I forgot who one of you mentioned you'd have, or I think when you said you have to look at the context too, because if this person's just a friend, right? And it's a situation where if you're on the phone with them all the time, they're always calling, always texting, then now a boundary's being crossed because now you're getting too close to a non-essential friend. I think I would probably have an issue with that because it's like, okay, well, why is she calling you all the time?
Yeah, because you're gonna get that side eye. You start getting the call. You start getting the call and you on the phone for a long time, and then women, y'all don't come right out. Y'all
let it fester.
I'll be like, what is this?
No, I had to ask one time because I'll give a quick example. One time we stopped at a gas station and he went inside the gas station and his phone was still connected to the car. And this name kept calling and calling and calling. Now I know who it was. Okay. I know who it was, his business partner. But why is she calling you back to back like this tonight? Like, what's happening right now? So we had to have a conversation about that because what the hell's going on? And he was just
you said business partner. Maybe there was an essential deal that had to be done by the morning.
I mean, it better have
company was falling apart.
What is going on? You know what I mean? But he did call her like right in front of me when he got back, it was like, oh, what's going on, blah, blah, and they had a conversation. But I didn't like that. Like back to back to back. Yeah. No.
You're like, what the hell is going on? Why are you not leaving the voicemail?
Yeah, I don't care if I know who this is or not. This is not normal. So
you in the car looking at the Bluetooth, you looking at the name on the radio,
listening to the music. Yes, and then hang up. I was like, and her, the name kept popping. It was right there, and I'm like
looking at his phone, like, damn it, that Bluetooth. I meant to disconnect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had that conversation real quick. I'm like, what is this? But but then everything was all cool and squared away. But no, that is a definite boundary. You're not going to be calling back to back like that at certain hours and stuff like that. No.
Right.
No.
Yeah, the time of the day too. It all depends on the time of the day.
That part. It's disrespectful.
Yeah. That is so true. Yeah. If you have opposite sex friends who don't have the wherewithal to understand what the right or wrong time to call to.
That's true.
Because sometimes you're in a relationship, the other person might not be in a relationship like that, and they don't really, you know what I'm saying? So,
but you should be able to respect that person. If you know that person's in a relationship, you should be able to respect that person's boundaries and be like, if I know you in a relationship, right? It's 10 o'clock on a Friday night. Hey, what you doing? Watching TV with my wife or watching TV with my boyfriend or, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's just certain things you shouldn't do. You should have enough respect and at least have, at this stage of the game, enough maturity to understand that this is probably not a good idea. This is not appropriate because 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna be honest. If I'm calling somebody late in the evening, like a man, I'll say, not just somebody. If I'm calling a man at a certain hour, this is not a friendly relationship. You want something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Certain things that you're not going to do. If a man is just your friend, there's certain things you're not going to do.
Mm-hmm.
You are not going to flirt. You are not going to be suggestive with them. There's certain boundaries you just don't cross.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you start trying to be real playful and giggling, and you're sending, pictures of yourself to this person all the time, come on now.
Ooh.
Well, that's pretty obvious.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
pretty obvious. I mean,
there's certain things you just don't do.
but somebody
and
you know for a long time that shouldn't happen.
Women know what time it
some
is. Okay, and
feelings
the
that-
thing
yeah.
is if we like this
100%.
guy and he's in a women, and this is, I don't do this, but I know plenty of women. If you like this guy and he's in a
You're frozen
relationship, oh, I want it.
You're back.
Yeah, you
Okay.
back now.
It doesn't freeze on my end, so I'm still talking and y'all are still moving. It's just weird. But women,
Well, whatever you saying, only the internet fiber optic lines know, because I don't know what you're saying.
I know what's going on.
Yeah.
No.
Am I frozen again?
Yeah.
Oh,
She was going in
You
too.
go back.
Oh, shit.
You still frozen, twin. Can you hear me?
Y'all are frozen. Okay, y'all froze up this
All
time.
right.
Oh, we froze. Oh,
Oh, we
no.
froze?
Y'all froze, and I was moving.
No, you're frozen.
But we're having some weather issues here, so the second it gets cold here, everything just goes haywire.
Start acting up.
Oh no.
But
Well, let me ask y'all about. So let's talk about the other thing we didn't talk about last week. It was so bill splitting. I know we may have touched on this before, but this is something that I think is another interesting topic, right? What'd you say?
I said, go and done.
Laughing.
So bill splitting. This is something that's so interesting. When you look at a lot of these dating shows now, and just in general, this is a big topic online and the dating shows. So there's a big issue with 50-50, or splitting bills and how you're going to split money. So what I find interesting about this, even before we get to that part, there has always been a lot of issues as far as now. And I was talking about this with my wife earlier, how even in the dating world, like now, it doesn't seem like people even like to go and get coffee, take any walks or anything like that. It's almost like on first dates, women are kind of offended if you're not going somewhere extremely fancy. So I don't know if that is something that's more of a today generation thing, but there seems to be this, because there was a video that went viral, may have been 2 years ago, how this guy took a woman to Cheesecake Factory and she was like, "Oh hell no!" He took me to Cheesecake Factory, and I'm like, "Yo, Cheesecake Factory is a good look." You know what I'm saying? To me, I mean,
nice restaurant.
I love it. Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. So, but this whole thing about, spending money on dates and stuff like that, I think is kind of reflective in the whole idea of how to split money in relationships. So, I mean, what do y'all think? I mean, I think that if you are in a relationship and you're going to share life together, is there really a big issue as far as sharing bills? Whether it be equally or unequally.
I don't think.
DJ. What'd you say, DJ?
So I mean, okay, I have a lot to say. So just cut me off. So there's a joke, and there's a very good joke about this. And basically, the man takes the woman out, and the woman says, "I just want you to know that you're not going to get any on this date because we just met, and I don't want to give off this wrong impression." So they go through this dinner, and then the bill comes, and he sees he only paid $40. She ate about $160 worth of food. He puts the $40 down and say, "I want you to know, I'm not going to pay for this whole date." because I don't want you to get the wrong impression that I'm going to pay for everything and that we're going to live this life together. And it was just a real funny, like he's making it as a joke, but it really is psychologically kind of like that. We're just kind of like conditioned that men are supposed to do this. And trust me, I have no problems doing it. But I think that if you're really with someone, you should be cognizant of each other's situations and be like, you know what, hey, you paid this week, let me get this one. Like, I think those kind of relationships, I think the relationships where everyone mutually agrees on everything versus the expectation of one sex over another for whatever reason. And I think those are the things that kind of hang us up, is because of these preconditioned expectations that were given to us that we're supposed to uphold. And,
Right.
and it just gets us in the way of just really just being. Like, you can have a good time and you could probably do more with both people paying versus a man sitting up here in his brain stressing, all right, I can eat about this much worth of food. Like, nobody wants to be like that, but that's how men are. That's what we have to carry.
That's
That
very honest.
that most women don't think we think about. But I'm like, pocket pinching, you know,
Yeah.
to give off this false appearance and let you know that I like you, but I'm not being fake. But I want you to know that I like you enough to spend this amount of money on you.
Mhm.
And even though it would be nice to get, you know, to have some kind of, I don't know, whatever level of intimacy you're looking for, but knowing that if I get nothing, I'm okay because I just want to be with you, sort of thing. Like, you know, when we throw finances and other things in it, it completely just obliterates that part of what the relationship's supposed to be. I'm gonna stop there.
No, that's real.
Yeah,
That is real.
that's real.
That's so honest.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when you know, I think there are men like the dating scene. Luckily, I'm not in the game like that at all. But you know, the dating scene today, we talking about eggs that are a dollar a egg. You know, dating is really expensive. And listen, there are guys out here who be sitting here crashing out, pretending they have money, charging and spending themselves into debt hell, trying to prove that they have money. Just, you know, some people have the resources. If you had the resources just to really spend, you know, $300 on a date here and there, and it's no big deal, cool, more power to you. But most people don't really have it like that. And you know, I was talking about how, like, my wife and I's first date, we actually went on we went to like a small little brunch place, but we took a walk through a really nice park, you know, on some Jill Scott long walk vibe. You know what I'm saying? So we
Mm-hmm.
literally did that.
Yeah.
But I think that the aspect of dating has become so monetary now that people don't, because there's also like a backlash about, I mean, I see many women online talking about they don't do coffee dates and they're really offended by coffee dates. And I think those little simple things are good first dates, because you really should be getting to know each other. And
Mm-hmm.
listen, if you are dating somebody who you know has the resources, you'll know prior to going out, because that guy's going to invite you to somewhere expensive and XYZ. But most people are not in that situation, and $300 on dinner here and there is a lot of money if you ain't got the
It's a
money.
lot of money.
Yeah.
You know
It's a
what I
lot of
mean?
money, and I think
Yeah.
that women do need to be realistic these days and not buy into the hype of urban popular culture.
That is urban.
You got to put it in there.
I gotta put it in there.
You got to put it in there and think that, okay, well, you know, if you're not taking me out to a $250 dinner on the weekends and you're not going here and buying me purses and getting this and that, then you just broke. And you know, if you're broke, then you just ain't worth nothing. I think that unfortunately, that for the younger generation at least, there's just this perception that, oh well, if you ain't spending money on me, if you ain't doing this for me, if you ain't giving me money towards my bills, if you ain't doing this and that, then you ain't shit. And I think that's going to just only contribute to these women not being able to find a suitable partner. Because either you're going to end up with a man who's nothing but smoke and mirrors, who's going to act like he got it like that, but he really ain't, or you're going to end up not being able to find anybody at all. Because it's difficult out here. It's real difficult. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of these women who want Mr., finance guy who has, who can make it rain all the time, 9 times out of 10, the men who really have it like that, this is going to sound bad, but a lot of them have pretty high standards. And a lot of these women who are expecting to get guys like that are not on that level. A lot of those men are looking for women who are just as financially stable, who don't really need them. Women who are very successful and educated and all this other stuff. And it's like, ladies, and this is something I really would want to say to the younger ladies, what are you bringing to the table as well?
Yeah.
You need to have yourself together. You need to be able to speak well, dress well, have some direction, have your head screwed on straight. If you're looking for a particular type of guy, especially one who's very financially well off, he's not just going to be looking, your perceived looks are not going to be enough to attract or maintain a man like that. Yeah. So you don't need to be realistic.
Right.
That's true.
You need to be realistic.
That is true.
Well,
and for everybody else,
I think you froze up again, twin. Well, the thing is, what you think about that, G?
I agree. Oh gosh. You do have to bring, like what she said, what Gaga said. Like, you have to, if guys are like looking at you a certain way, I'm sure you're looking at them a certain way. And I always say, like, I still love the courting stage and all of those things. Like, it's ideal because that's like, what history has shown us. But being realistic, like, you really have to be. If he says, oh, let's go to a coffee shop or whatever, what's wrong with that? Like, what is really wrong with that? I don't find anything wrong with that. I don't know. I just think some people, their expectations are they're just out of here. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. It's just really ridiculous. Like, women are saying, oh, like the Cheesecake thing. Like, what's wrong with the Cheesecake Factory?
That's a nice restaurant.
What do you think
Cheesecake Factory is a treat. We going to the Cheesecake Factory tomorrow.
How about that?
Taking my kids there tomorrow and my wife there tomorrow because, you know what I'm saying? Like, kids got good grades. My daughter loves Cheesecake Factory, so that's where we going tomorrow. And, I think it's a great first date, and I agree. I do think coffee's a good first date. I think that spending a lot of money, and both of y'all are right. I mean, the expectations are so wild out here for the younger people.
Yeah.
The people in their 20s, the stuff I'm seeing online and the way these women talk, it's just, I think it's online. Internet has created that. Instagram, TikTok has all created this idea of how much someone should be spending. And again, also it's guys' fault too, because there are guys who are just out here pretending they have a lot of money and some of them are crashing out. They really don't have the money, and I've seen guys talk about, well, how much money they've spent on dates. And I'm like, well, you're dumb for spending that much money on a date because you don't have you have bills to pay. You don't really have a few $100s to spend on a date. It's expensive. So you got to start cooking. You got to start being more creative. And if you find somebody who's not into that, then you just got to curb them because it's not going to work. Because at the end of the day, and the reason why I brought that up is because the whole 50-50 thing, that to me, that's the precursor to when you in a relationship or married or whatever the case is, about how y'all deal with money together. Because if you, as partners, the real life, that's why I tell people all the time, like in real life, the whole idea of splitting bills and working together is not a big deal. One person shouldn't be carrying everything, but y'all should be working together and not so much worried about
who pays what.
Well, men will pay all the bills if they have the money. There's no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, we live. Man, listen, inflation is real. Bills are real. It's not cheap to live. So, most men cannot carry all the bills. It's very expensive to live. And I think that if you can get to a place in dating where, men and women are more honest with each other, then it will, like y'all all said, it'll lead to a more healthy relationship. Because if you coming in the game like my money, like if you're a woman, you're like my money is my money and your money is our money, and if you can't carry everything, we can't date, and then therefore we can't lead to a relationship. So,
Yeah.
See,
it's crazy.
It's like, okay, in the beginning though, like just what I said a few minutes ago, like I like that courting stage. You know what I mean? When a guy is like, you don't even reach for anything. You know what I mean? Like, yes, that's courting, right? But when we're in this and we're in a relationship, we're together, it's like, okay, baby, I got this. You got this. Oh, I'll pay for this. We go to the movies. I got the food. You got the tickets. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how it should be to me. That's what I do. But everybody's not like that. You just cannot expect someone to dish out, and them not feel a way about it. Like after some years or some time, like that's annoying. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's become so transactional, and I think that's the point. It's become very transactional. So I think men are kind of looking at women like, like DJ said, as far as they're looking at, okay, well, what am I going to get? They really come
Out
to
of it,
like,
yeah.
well, you know what I mean? Like, what am I going to get? What am I spending this money for? And then women are like, well, why am I entertaining my time with you? And some are out to get a free meal, and it's, people are asking for Cash App on their bills. It's wild out here. It's wild,
That's craziness.
And even to your point, G, as far as the courting stage. Now, the courting stage, I agree. The courting stage is, you could do a lot of things in the courting stage. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to eat
Spending money,
every
right?
night, but it's just, just showing that, okay, cool. I'll pay for this. I'll pay for that. No big deal.
Yes.
But it's gotten out of control, in my opinion.
Yes.
So,
And that also that courting stage, like you said, doesn't always have to be, that, but it's also showing that that man can take the lead in whatever it is that's going on. And you're like, okay, I like that. I like that quality about a man. So yeah, doesn't have to be that.
Now, first date, if a guy asks you to split half, it's over, right?
I mean,
keep it real.
I'm probably wouldn't.
Go ahead, Yaya. Go ahead.
I mean, honestly, to me, if he's asking me to split the bill from Jump Street, it's a little bit of a red flag.
No, it's over. Don't even try to pretend. It's over. You're done.
Yeah, more than likely, I probably was going to lose a little interest. Because to me, I feel like that's showing me that you're not really that interested. That's showing me that I'm not even worth, paying for lunch.
Bingo.
In the very beginning, I'm not worth you taking me. You know what I mean? To me, that's showing a lack of interest in me. So that's going to make me have a lack of interest in you. So
I'm watching DJ
because I'm trying to process. It's like I hear what you're saying, and I get it, but it's like so if I'm paying half, I like you half as much. Like I get the ideology and the thinking why you would say that. I mean I get it, and I'm only I probably am just playing devil's advocate at this point. But it's just like, but when you think about it, it's like really like I don't like you half as much. I just don't want to lose a whole portion of my money.
But you
if I don't like you
like that in the first place.
I mean, we're thinking like first date. First date,
because I can say the same thing. If I'm thinking like that, why are you thinking that I like you half as less because I'm asking you to pay half? See, we're all thinking. We are all thinking.
No.
And this is the problem with our relationships, because we're all trying to outthink one another.
Oh no, from Jump Street, that's just I don't know, that just leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
I get it. I hear what you're saying, but it doesn't mean I like you half as much. It doesn't.
Okay,
it means you don't like me enough.
That's a way to look at it. That's interesting.
Can I please give an example, because this is crazy? I literally just had this conversation with one of my girlfriends last night. She told me that this guy was interested in taking her out on a date, right? And he said to her, well, when we go out, I'm not going to take you to a fancy restaurant or anything like that because I don't want to, I've had instances where women have just used me, like Shy said, for a meal or whatever. So when I take you out, we're going to go to a burger joint or something. And she said, like y'all said, that was like a ding ding, a red flag. It turned her all the way off. Why would you even say that? And that's why I told her, I said, why would he say something like that?
I get it. I would have been turned off too.
Okay. So that's where the chances of them linking up is over. She's like, nope.
Wait,
that was not well played on his part.
No, it wasn't.
He could have done 10 million other different things.
But
so that wasn't smart. I get it.
Yes.
I get it.
So it's not the burger joint. It's not the burger joint per se. It's the way he handled it.
Definitely. Definitely. But
it could be the burger joint too.
You're basically telling me, well, you're putting all your past issues on me already. You know what I mean? And like, that's not fair. No. That's not fair. I'm not worth it. I'm not worth it. I'm someone totally new. I'm not worth taking to a nice place to sit down, have a nice meal. You're telling me from the jump you're just going to take me to a burger joint? Like, it was
no. Okay. Well, see, we talking about two different things. That one, no. But we can go to a nice place, but it doesn't mean I have to pay the whole thing. If it does,
it feels like he might say, let's split this bill. I mean,
no. Jump Street, you need to step up most women are going to want from Jump Street, step up as a man.
Right.
So be chivalrous.
Yes.
And say, show your interest.
I get it.
Show your interest in saying, you know what, you are worth me paying this whole bill so I can really get to know you and see what you're about.
But
and see if you're about money. See if you're, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. But see, that's a game in itself. But here is the weird thing. So I pay for everything up front so I can pay for less things later.
Yeah.
Now, does everyone in this world understand that logic?
No, they don't. But
well, then you all need to start spreading this email.
DJ putting it down. That's what's up.
Because if honestly, if that is the play card, then that's fine.
Much mature women, I feel like, we're not going to have a problem taking you out to dinner.
Right.
We're not going to have a problem paying half the bill. We're not going to have a problem understanding finances. And frankly, I think that you should spend some time really talking to the person before you even go out on a date. You might be able to avoid all the
true too.
confusion from Jump Street. Have some good conversations. Talk on the phone for a little while. Really try to read this person. And and once you talk to them and you really start digging them, like, man, we've had some good conversations. I'm really digging this person. I'm talking about more than just the good morning, beautiful. How was you know what I'm saying? Get past the small talk and the bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have some meaningful conversations with this person. I figure by the time you actually go on the actual date, they'll be more comfortable, be more familiar. You'll probably be more willing to pay the bill because you really like this person already. And maybe you already have an understanding. And maybe throughout your conversations, you both already understand, like, you know what? Well, how do you feel about, a man paying the bill? Or maybe you have these conversations with that person. So that from the beginning.
I don't think you have those conversations.
I understand now. I understand. I understand. So here's where the problem is. You all understand this because we are seasoned.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at this when we were coming up and going through this,
true.
Yeah, that's how I'm seeing it. But from your standpoint right now, yes, all of this makes sense. That one over there in the top left corner, well, it's on my screen. Like, she'll ask me for a ride home. What do I do? Do I open your door? I don't even think it's just, but it's a natural thing. But I was taught to be chivalrous, whereas I don't know how many of these young men are, and even young ladies, because I will, like, we work in a school, and I'm talking about these little girls, like, I'm trying to hold the door for them to show them that a male should hold the door for you, but they're rushing to get to the door to open it because they feel like they should do it by themselves.
Right.
And yes, you should be independent, but I'm trying to show you the example that a male should hold the door for you. And it goes up the board to some of the women too. They forgot that men should be doing these things.
Yeah.
And it's so weird. And I think that's where a lot of this comes from. And I think if more men were taught that chivalry part, this 50-50 thing probably wouldn't even be a conversation, because we would be doing it, maybe not at the levels of, with this whole like that cheesecake incident, but like men would be paying for these things wherever it is, whether it's McDonald's or whether it's Fogo de Chao, whatever. But men would do it because they were taught to do it, but we aren't taught to do it. And then there have been women who have just been conditioned to support their men, and in inner cities, and they're driving their men around. Why I see it all the time. The woman driving and the man sitting so far back, he might as well be in the trunk.
Oh my goodness.
And the woman's paying for this and paying for that, and it's just flipped society on his head, and like that's what their children are seeing. So that's we have to break the cycle at some point.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
That is.
That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, I think it is. It's kind of like, it's the both extremes.
Yeah.
So there are women who are extremely entitled and feel like, okay, the man should do everything, and then there's the other side where, you do have some situations where there are women who are doing predominantly everything, and the man is kind of, I'm still kind of old school. Like, I really don't even like to. I know it's dumb, but I don't even like my wife to really drive like that. Like, I don't like being in the passenger seat.
I get
it. even if we're taking her car, I'm like, I'm driving, because I just feel, unless I don't feel like driving, is one thing. But I always, it's just me. I mean, I don't like to be in the passenger seat. It makes me feel kind of like
you giving away some of your power.
Yeah, it don't feel right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm the man, I'm driving, but that's not a big deal. I'm not saying it's all the time, but it's just sometimes.
That's a little bit ridiculous, but okay.
I'm not saying all the time, but to DJ's point, you're right. There are a lot of situations where the man, he looks a little bit more or less dominant, or looks a little bit less in charge in that role per se. But as far as I think the 50-50 conversation is unavoidable, only because, we're just in that time. We've been in that time, honestly, as far as society, where there are men who make enough to do everything all the time, but just realistically, like when I look at these conversations online, I kind of laugh, because most of the women who are like, well, the man needs to pay for everything, and I need to have this certain type of thing. Most of them don't have those it's not happening in real life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This whole Kevin Samuels high valued man conversation came into play, but it's not reality for the most part. And I think that without really dealing with the 50-50 issue and being comfortable, because I honestly, and again, I don't live in everybody's house, but I think most couples it's more 50-50 that makes up the majority of the couples than it is where it's the high valued man paying everything, and the woman is like, she's still working, but she keeps all of her money to herself and only pays the cable bill, and the man pays it. I mean, I just don't see a lot of that at all. Most couples I know, and who are living together, have kids together, and are living life together, are certainly sharing bills. You know what I'm saying? So I think that there's this idea that, maybe men don't want to admit that, or maybe I don't think there's any shame in it. I think that's just the reality, because that's what I've seen. My parents certainly share bills, and most people's parents I know who was together, they share bills. It is what it is. It's not a big deal, but but that's where I think we've come to in this place in today, and I think that's why the younger people are it's become very transactional, where the younger girls are kind of like, well, what can this person do for me? You know, or like you said, DJ, there's a level of I don't need nobody to do nothing for me. So it's kind of one way or the other. It's become kind of wild. So I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know where we're going from here with it. You know, I think that the relationship aspect of everything is something that I think will be. I like to talk about it because I think that it really is the key to the future. And you know, we talked last week. One of the things we talked about last week was how men don't even know how to really approach women anymore. And they were like, I've seen a lot of studies where women will be talking about this, and we talked about it last week, where you may have a group of women who are like, man, the guys aren't even approaching us no more. They're not coming to holler at us no more. And
it is becoming so difficult to be approachable. Like you know, I've never approached a woman and asked her out. Like never. Like my first girlfriend I met on like some kind of internet thing, MSN or Hotmail, whatever. Back then, like I could like my way of trying to introduce myself to females was being funny. And then I automatically friend zoned myself because I was no longer a threat because I was the funny guy in the corner that they could tell me about all the other guys that they really wanted. And I'm the confidant. And that was me my entire high school. And the one time I asked one person to go to the prom, she said she was going with her ex-boyfriend, and then trigonometry class, she sent me a letter saying I should have went with you. And I had to live with that for my life. I still I've been so I've never really approached and like my wife, like we met at church and like she was singing on the choir and like I wasn't like trying to, it was just like, hey, we went to high school together. So it was like that. It wasn't like, hey, you want to go get coffee? Like I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it because I was afraid of that rejection. Like I never was like, I don't know if you're supposed to be taught how to deal with rejection and disappointment, but like in that era, you know, and living in Baltimore, women were cruel in the sense like they wouldn't just say no, I'm not interested. It's an expletive with a nigga, is you crazy, like that. I don't want to hear that. Yeah. Like that doesn't build my confidence up. And maybe that was just my experience, but I was just like, if that's your experience, that's what you carry with you, and it makes it difficult. So it's like really hard to like approach a woman, and then like, do I really want to yell at your ear in a club? And I'm like, how do you get your attention to go somewhere quiet? Like it's just like such a thing. And then if I want to talk to you because I was dancing with you, well, I was dancing with you, so then you looking at me like just because I danced with you, I got to get your phone. Like I can't. Do you see the stress and anxiety that is coming up from like 20 years ago? Yeah. Like men have to walk around with this stuff.
I love this.
We can't express it.
This is so honest. Go ahead. Sorry, DJ. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, that was it. So it's like, you know, so I've never known what it felt like to just really approach a woman, like, and just like, I don't even know what you're supposed to say, but I mean, I guess you talk, but I've never done it conventionally. And I hid behind a computer screen because I can get rejected online because only me and you know. And it may be if you show other people, but I won't know that you showed other people. So that's a security blanket, just like you got all these internet bullies, you know. So that was my security blanket with meeting people. I could get rejected on here and be okay with it here. And then, you know, that would translate to, okay, then we meet in person and we make sure we both not trying to kill each other. And then we, you know, it went on like that. But like the conventional way of trying to talk to someone, I've never done it. I failed miserably at it.
That's so honest, though. That is
Yeah.
so honest. That's so honest. And you know what? I speaking this for myself. I don't think I've done a lot of like conventional either. Like, I'm not really the like walk up on you, hey, you know what I'm saying? How you doing? Honestly, every time, the few times I've done it that way, conventional as well, it don't work. It don't work out, And I think that what I've learned is that when you approach not approach a woman, but when you approach the aspect of just trying to get with somebody, I look for a vibe or energy. So I always find a vibe or energy, and then maybe it'll naturally lead to that. But that, walking up on you like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey, what's your name? It's so yeah, it's so cliche. It just some people it worked for them, but that's not something I necessarily did either. So I feel what you're saying, DJ, because and I think now in today's age, it's become it's become so awkward because, and again, I still think men should approach women, but I think, okay, here's the difference. I think the difference is when you used to have parties back in the day, everybody used to dance. It used to be a little more sociable. So you kind of were not just walking up to somebody like cold. You know what I'm saying? Coming from across the room to go holler at somebody. I think party used to be a little more interactive back in the 90s and 80s and in the 70s. People were just more socially interactive. And I think it's gotten even worse now because people are on their phone. People are really individual, isolated in a way, unless they're talking to their friends. So I do think it is very weird for men to walk up to women. I think that's why, you do see that a lot. You see a lot of these 20s and 30-year-olds talking about men aren't even approaching us, So I don't know, but
that's true.
Who knows?
Well, I will say this real quick. I never had a problem approaching a guy. If I thought he was cute, I like a perfect example.
I would love that.
But
I would love that.
I just didn't have, I don't know. I just never had a problem with that. Like, even for my son's father, we were on the bus. It was just me and him for some weird reason. I don't know, right? And I just saw him. I was like, oh my God. I thought he was so attractive. And I was like, oh, Gina, say something. Because once we get off the bus, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? I'm not going to see this guy again, probably, whatever. So I walked up to the front. I said, excuse me, what's your name? He told me. And I was like, well, I think you're very, you're cute. Can I get your number? He gave it. And we had a son. You know what I mean?
One time,
I totally approached him on the bus.
But see, this is a little fact about men. Like men like that stuff too.
Yes, that's true.
Nobody. Everybody has this thing that feels like we have to do that. We have to be the aggressor. Like no, like men were nurtured by women at some point, and at some point we followed our fathers. If we were lucky enough to have them. But I'm like, so we have that sensitive side. Like, we want that too. Like, at some point, I can't always be a man. Like, I have to be able to let my estrogen flow, I guess. And I'm like, if I always have to be the aggressor, then, when do you ever get to a point where I can, be that sensitive person, because the world won't let black men be sensitive, and that's a whole nother story.
Oh yeah,
but it's just like So if I would have loved for some woman to just approach me, not even if it's just to say I'm terrible with compliments, but even like when I have like cologne on, just to have that recognition, like I like that. I don't handle it well, but I'm not getting choked up. I just had something in my throat. But I like that. But men like to hear that sort of thing. They do. So just keep that and spread that word. That men like that stuff too. I don't think enough of y'all know that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, G, and just to your point, like it's even like you went all the way there as far as like just really approaching, but even just throwing a vibe doesn't hurt. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where I think it's not the worst thing in the world for a woman to just throw a vibe, even if you're
Yeah, to
not
let
really
us know that
approaching.
you're interested.
Yeah, like throw a sign. So that's mainly what I typically have done in the past. If I see a sign, then cool. Like I said, I don't really approach someone cold. I've done it a couple of times and it's never worked out well, but usually there's a sign. That's how I met my wife too. And there was like a vibe, a sign, and then then from there it's like
And
because
and that's
it's
the
not.
thing. See, I think
Mhm.
females, and y'all here, so y'all can just cuss me out later. But I think you all think like a little eye bat or something, or a little flick of the hair. No, I will say this. Men are stupid in this aspect. I need a real sign. Do this or this.
Hey, wait a minute.
That's a sign.
Wait,
I don't think
that's what I was about to say before you started talking. What is the actual sign? Like, give examples. Like, what is the vibe, Shy? Like, what do you mean?
But that's what I'm saying. I understand exactly what he means. Like, you all think that
Go
you're
ahead,
giving
DJ.
enough signal, but no, like sometimes we need a little more, because if we go over there and get embarrassed, it takes a lot for us to get our confidence back up to do it again.
But what?
I need
I
you
need an
to tell
example.
me.
Like,
She wants specific, DJ. She wants
I want a
specific.
So
specific
I'm
example
I'm
of
I'm gonna
what
help
his
you out.
you
actual
give
sign
me
is supposed.
you give me eye contact for longer than 3 seconds, and you look me up and down, close your eyes, go back to your drink, and if I don't come over there, then that's
Oh,
my
I've
loss.
done that all the time.
Well, I ain't never got
Oh,
that sign.
well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't see.
Well,
I've done that, and it works. And then he
I know.
came over. Like,
That's a real
yeah,
signal.
yeah.
like a little eye contact, or
Mm-hmm.
a nice
LL
smile,
Cool J, lick of the lip, something. I.
Oh my
lick of the lips,
god.
nice little smile.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we do get in some small talk, if you know, laugh extra hard like I'm funnier than I am, those are all those are all signs I can go in for the kill.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Those are good examples.
But you do have, y'all are all, you and Twin, y'all are more jovial, warm women. There are a lot, so y'all don't represent probably the women that DJ's talk about, or the kind I'm talking about. Like, you have a lot of them who they just
just mean and
may
angry.
not have an approachable vibe. So that's the thing. Like, if you're not you might be good looking, and again, there's also women who are good looking, but they feel like, you know what, it's your pleasure to be in my presence. That's their attitude.
Hmm.
Right.
It's your pleasure to be in the same room as me. So you need to convince me why you're not a lot of bum. You know what I'm saying? And look, there's some guys who like that challenge to try to convince a woman that they are worth the time of day to even talk to. I get it. That's not really my thing. I'm not really into that. Like, if you're not approachable, I ain't approaching you because I just don't want to. I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. So but at the same time, I think what's happening now with the younger people, I think that the guys have an attitude too. They're like, I don't even, everybody's like, I don't care. I'm not really approaching. And the guys, like to DJ's point, some of the guys don't know how to approach socially. You know, I was even watching something the other day where this woman was talking, or the girl, not girl or woman, she wasn't that old, she's in her 20s, but she was saying how guys ask her for her Instagram, they don't ask her for her phone number. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
so socially, it's important for women to also understand that, I hate to say it, but guys don't always know how to approach, and women may not be approachable. So it's important, I think, also for women to be approachable, because to me, if you can create some type of a vibe, some type of an energy, then there's a better chance people are going to approach you, at that point. But But I also understand for women, sometimes they don't want to give that off because at the same time, women they can't control who approaches them. So sometimes you end up getting approached by somebody you don't want to be approached because, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? Like, Gina, your vibe is very friendly. So you may probably get approached by, people you don't want to approach you.
All the time. All the time.
Yeah.
Well, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all night. I'll hopefully see everybody next week.
No
All
doubt.
right.
All
No doubt.
right,
Have a
y'all.
good night,
Yeah.
guys.
Peace.
Bye.